I really hope you all enjoyed last season in the brand new stadium because we've been evicted. Yeah, we're back in Coventry's stadium. The Coventry Building Society Arena returns not just for European games anymore, but for league games too. And that is due to the fact that the Murphy Part-Time and Goma Sports Complex is getting an expansion to 36,000 seats, 12,000 seats being added. And we're having to rent this new ground until next year. I'm annoyed about it too. Now, of course, besides being evicted, there's other stuff going on today. The transfer window has just opened, and it is a transfer summer special. It's season 14 upcoming. How are we 14 years in the future already? That is bonkers. What else is bonkers is the money we've got to spend. £144 million, loads of wage budget. I've kind of been plotting out my kind of bench and my starting 11 for the coming year. I don't know where we're going to sign players. I mean, Sneddon is the obvious choice here, isn't he? Yeah, maybe a centre-back. Then again, I did say that last season, so can you really trust anything that I say? Probably not. Although, I'd like to think you can. And just a little heads up before we get into the intro of today's video. If you are a key player or a first-team regular channel member, we've got a stream today on the channel. A Q&A stream for you to drop by in. The VOD will be available for people after the fact. And if you want to get more details on channel memberships and stuff, there's the join button down below. Anyway, with that all said and done, we are going to run the intro. We're going to get into things. A few players have joined us. A few players might be leaving us. We'll talk about that and more right after the intro. Yes, folks, how is it going? Welcome back to episode number 112 of Park to Prem. Today is the 12th of June in game, and as I mentioned, players have already joined us. Yeah, that's right. The transfer window has opened. I've been trying to extend the loans of some of my players I had out of the club. None of them want to go on loan to the same club again. But in terms of those signings that we have already confirmed, the first, a new backup goalkeeper in Kortstam. This guy, just a good backup goalkeeper. Just as a little reminder, Haddad is leaving us. I know he has the highest star rating. Dennis is better, isn't he? Star ratings on goalkeeper and Football Manager are just a load of rubbish. I mean, here's the comparison. I think the issue is that star rating takes into account average ratings quite heavily. And so in an instance like this, despite the fact that Dennis is a better player, as a goalkeeper, it's not really a question mark in my mind. Because he's been playing more and his average rating's been a little bit lower lately, he's just rated lower. Yeah, I don't really get the stars in Football Manager. They're a load of rubbish, aren't they? But yes, Kortstam here is a very good player. Haddad, on his way out the club, he has now officially agreed a move to Juventus. That, for £45 million. We've replaced him with Kortstam, who we signed for a fraction of the price. And in terms of just as a backup goalkeeper, I think he's going to do the business. The other man who's already joined us is Marco Corbo. We agreed to sign this guy as of last episode. I covered a few young players who were going to be joining us in the near future at the end of last episode. He is one of them. Now, it is perhaps worth noting that the transfer window is open for us, but for the majority of teams in Europe, it doesn't open until July. And of course, we have got Alexei joining us. This guy's joining us on a free transfer. I feel like if you only come back for the transfer specials, that's probably mental, isn't it? Last summer, we nearly signed him for £166 million. He's now joining us on a free. Yeah, very excited to get him in the club. If you did spot a player missing in the starting 11 when I showed the team earlier, that's Alexei's spot. You know, I'm already making a space for him in the team. Now, if we are going strictly off star rating, Sneddon is the man to potentially replace in the team, but the 27-year-old has been a pretty solid centre-back, hasn't he? Considering we signed him for £28 million, I feel like we've got £28 million worth of performances. But when you look at the rest of the team, the reality is that we are stacked in so many other areas. I suppose the only issue is signing a new player to play centre-back would mean that maybe Bailey Salmon doesn't get as many first-team games, but we are edging on that point now where we're going to end up with two absolutely exceptional starting 11s. In fact, when you look at the comparison here, you could certainly argue that Bailey Salmon is better than Sneddon already. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. I think speed is just very important in the match engine, and I feel like the aerial polygon is a bit of a deceptive one. If you look at the head-to-head comparison here, though, the 19-year-old is still very much worth comparing, I feel like, to Sneddon. Now, right now, in terms of centre-backs in the squad, we've actually got some very, very good players in this part of the pitch. Bailey Salmon and Sneddon I've mentioned. Wari, we're not going to be looking to replace Wari. He is exceptional. Of course, the fullback, Lee Min, very, very good player, but more of a left-back than anything. NDIA, again, a good rating, but not necessarily a centre-back. I feel like we could get away with signing a new centre-back and then just loaning out Swainston for the year. I wanted to make this guy a bit of an emergency option for us and try and give him game time for his development. He was also playing for the under-21s regularly. He did start 4 league games for us, to be fair, but I think he's kind of at a point in his career where I need to get him out on loan. I feel like the last year, he's not really developed as much as I was hoping he would. Justin, I think you will be great. Right now, though, you're just not great for us. But look, I think a championship team or high-end League One team can take him and really help him develop. We have got some really, really good young players with high potential. A few of these a little unhappy about lack of game time. Players like Daniel Dimitrov. This guy actually improved a lot this year, considering I didn't get to play him as much as I was hoping. He could certainly tear up the championship. He wants to move on and, well, hopefully get some game time. I'm going to loan him out because I feel like he is ready. Carlos Osei is another man who I could look to loan out, but actually I think I might keep him around as a bit of an emergency player. Do I want to do that? I feel like he played a lot at the start of the year and he's not played much since. I suppose the issue is with players like Osei and Dimitrov. If I loan them out, it means they're not going to get homegrown at club, which they are currently on course to get. So it's like, do you want to loan them out? I mean, they will still get homegrown in nation, of course, but homegrown at club is kind of valuable. I suppose I say that when you actually look at our team. It's not like we're short of homegrown club kind of players at the moment. We've got 6 of them. One of those players is João Victor. Hate to say it, might be looking to move him on this summer. I feel like we're beyond João Victor's pedigree now. You know, he's won a Premier League title with us. He's been with us since League One, as a reminder. And he did actually play an active role over the last few years, but I think we might have outgrown him. There is some interest. This might be very unpopular. I'm going to move him on. I feel like João Victor is nobody's favourite player. I never see João Victor fans in the comments. Maybe they're out there. Who knows? Yeah, I'm gonna move him on, I think. Now, another man who I signed last year and I was a bit disappointed in this year was Mateus. You can see here, 3 goals, 3 assists, 6.95 rating. Given the emergence of some of the new strikers that we've got, I don't know if I need Mateus. Like, we've brought him in and he's kind of done a good stopgap option-y kind of job. But considering we signed him for £15 million, I am curious what kind of interest there could be in for him. I mean, when you look at players sort of by star rating, he's a little far down the list. He wouldn't really make the bench, given the current team. Obviously, we've got the likes of Vasquez, who we signed in January, who I think is maybe a slightly better plan B option. I feel like we've got lots of players like Mateus who are pacey strikers. Vasquez here is just quite big and can jump and is strong and stuff. I say he's strong. He's not actually that big, really, but he's got good heading and good jumping reach, which for whatever reason we've never really had in our strikers. And actually, unlike Mateus, when we did play this guy at striker, he did get goals. I mean, when I look at the players outside of my currently selected bench, really Mateus and João Victor are the two to move on. The rest of these players, good youngsters. At worst, I feel like we need to loan them out. But to be honest, there isn't necessarily a pressing need to do that. I'm not going to say it too loudly because I might live to regret it and jinx it. But I think this might be the first transfer special where actually we don't need 2 parts. We might be able to get all our business done in one video just because there's not that much I feel like we need to do. I did ask the board to improve the youth facilities. I've seen the comments saying, Jack, improve the facilities. Why are you never improving them? I've been asking the board to improve them for many a year. Yeah, they don't want to improve the youth facilities. Remember when we got really good facilities in youth recruitment at the start of the save game? The board don't care about that anymore. Did just try to ask the board about the youth level. They don't want to improve that either. Now, I have spotted here a few of our players playing on England duty. Bolton, Snedden and Chelik all featuring in the England team. You can see it is the Euros going on this summer. And of course, as is a perk with this skin that we use, we get the Media Dream 11 as part of this. You can see Diop's in it for Spain, Chelik's in it for England, and then the rest of the players aren't as. That kind of ruins it, doesn't it? Jude Bellingham, by the way, 32 years old, still very, very good in this save game. Yamal, yeah, he's good. He's unhappy at the moment, though. He's unhappy. I don't need Lamine Yamal, but he is this year's kind of best wonder kid. £200 million is probably a bit much, isn't it, to spend on him? What's his release clause? Does he have his release clause is 500 million. I'll put him in the maybe column. Zaire Emery, by the way, very, very good in this save game as well. He is still at PSG. Is he better than Jude Bellingham? I'll tell you what, there's not a world of difference between them, is there? I think Jude just edges it, although they're very, very close. Camavinga is in the media kind of team here at left back, which is interesting because I'm fully aware his contract's up in Saudi Arabia. You might be thinking, Jack, why have you not approached to sign him then? He's currently on £1.6 million a week in Saudi Arabia. Just as a little recap, my total wage budget is about, well, double that. 3.5 million. I mean, the money that the Saudi teams have in Football Manager and real life is kind of mental, isn't it? Also, he's got an optional contract extension by club. Feel like he's going to be there another year. One thing I do like about the new skin update with the latest version of WTCS is the fact you can look at a season preview, which shows the Media Dream 11 that we've already seen, but it also has here a list of all the key players for different nations. You can kind of get a quick top-down view of who some of the best players are. Players like Amar Al-Sharif here, Israeli player, not good enough for us. Daniele Volpi, Italy's, well, one of Italy's key men, one of their two players. It works a bit like domestic competitions where each nation has two representatives. Volpi here is 20 years old and Italian. He is very, very good. Then again, is he as good as Donald? I don't think he's anywhere near as good as Donald. I'm going to compare them. Is he better than Donald? He might be better than Donald. He's also 20. He's on £245,000 a week, though. I'm looking through the list of players in this list. Tournier here, who I have got scouted, Swiss international, one of their key players, a right back. 9.6 million for this guy. I feel like we should scout him more. And there was another player here who I was looking at in Smirnov, who I think was on my shortlist last year. I decided not to sign him. Leeds signed him for £4.6 million at the age of 19. He's one of Ukraine's best players. I feel like I want to keep an eye on all these players because there could be some good players like this 19-year-old playing, well, I was going to say for Nordjylland, he's on loan from Man City. So he's definitely not an option. But yeah, I feel like whilst I want to sign all of these players and, you know, look at these good youngsters, like this guy, 16 and 2 caps for Germany. That's mental. But yeah, while I do want to do that, the reminder, there is the Premier League rule that limits, doesn't it, the amount of under 21 players you can sign in a year. If I'm not mistaken, we're very close to already exceeding that limit anyway. What is the limitation again? I think it's 6 players under 21. Why is this screen so poorly designed? I feel like I'm in an exam hall, like reading through exam questions. Where is the bit that I need? Oh, it's here. Teams could sign no more than 6 foreign under 21 players. We've already got a load scheduled, so youngsters maybe not necessarily a possibility. Scotland winning their first game of the Euro. Sam Fay played 62 minutes. Salmon played 90. Of course he did. Up the Salmon. And Gilliland played, and he scored. Oh my word. He was out on loan at Stuttgart last year. I feel like I need to loan him out again. He did improve on loan, but he's not going to get enough first-team football playing for us, is he? Okay, we've had some offers for João Victor. The value of some of these varies massively, but Wolfsburg and Al-Shabaab have offered 16 million, which I think is kind of a fair offer. I'm going to trust that Wolfsburg are just a lock-in at their amount. I'm going to ask Al-Shabaab for a bit more. And turns out I shouldn't have said that. Okay, well, I could try and negotiate with Wolfsburg. I think I'm just going to accept their offer and then reject all the unresponded offers and then offer João Victor out for a little bit more. Ultimately, he didn't really play enough for us this year. Just gone 2 starts in the Premier League, 6 sub-appearances. I'm kind of just happy to cash in on him. If we could get a little more than 16 million, that would be nice, but at this point, it doesn't feel likely. Elsewhere, of course, we did offer out a few different players. No interest in them yet, but with the transfer window still closed for a lot of countries, probably going to have to wait until July to get some offers in. Saying all of that, João Victor has now had a load of offers of £18 million come in. We will accept the Dortmund offer. I'm then going to reject all the other ones and now offer him out for like 20 million. This is how we get a bidding war going. Hopefully we can push his value up a lot. Probably important to remember, do need to also reject the Wolfsburg offer now. Right, will anyone bid 21 million? Probably not, but we can hope. Oh, okay, I take it all back. Wolfsburg, 21 million, we'll accept that. I feel like if I negotiate with any of these teams, they're just going to cry and run away. So we'll accept that offer. Now I have to break the heartbreaking news to Dortmund. They can't have him for 18 million. João Victor, 25 million now. We'll just ask for 25. I wonder how high this is going to go. Okay, Dortmund have bid 25 million. The other teams that were previously matching Dortmund have not offered that amount. So I think that is probably the most that we are going to get for him. I will then offer out João Victor again in the hopes that someone might exceed the £25 million. But to be honest, given the fact the first offer we got was 16 million, I feel like we've done quite good there. I take it all back. Borussia Mönchengladbach have now bid 28.5 million. Sorry, Dortmund. This is comical, isn't it? Sorry, Dortmund. Okay, well, we'll offer him out for 32.5 million. There's no chance anyone bids this, is there? I was really hoping I could do the reverse jinx there. I've not had any bids for him, although what we are getting is all the scout reports for all the different players that we're looking at. And also Diop and Ifoni playing. You can see Ifoni is now the Spain national team goalkeeper. You might remember he had a couple of caps before he joined us. He's now Spain's number 1. Okay, there's no offers coming in for João Victor. I think the bidding war's over, but I'm pretty chuffed, to be honest, to get 28 million. Although, I'm not chuffed about this. Man City are trying to still Stefan as a scout. What are they doing? Stefan, don't leave me. I could ask him to stay. I'm just going to throw money at him. You know, we'll do a Man City approach here. If I offer him 5 years on 4K, hopefully he stays. If he leaves, I'm going to be very upset. I'm going to ask him to stay. I don't want to lose you. I'd love it if you stayed. He's upset me there, hasn't he? I don't want to beg, but I have begged. Oh, go on then. He's rejecting Man City, and I will give him that new offer. He's 66 years old. We're signing him for another 5 years. He's probably going to retire at a Rugby Town Scout. I am taking a little bit of a gamble today. I'm wearing my beloved Toronto Maple Leafs jersey. I know people probably saw the black NHL jersey and couldn't figure out. It's the reverse. No, it's not the reverse retro from a few years ago. No, it's the actual reversible one. There's a yellow. There's a yellow leaf in here. I'm not getting my cleavage out on video. Not on this channel, at least. But the reason that is a gamble is because the Leafs are playing Boston tonight as I record this. And if they lose in Game 3 of the playoffs, lots of you are going to mock me in the comments and I'm going to look like an idiot. Who else is not going to look like an idiot, though? Wayne McKenzie, first cap for Scotland for the 18-year-old. I love the fact he's made an appearance for Scotland and now he's got worse. I don't know if that's an indictment of the national team of Scotland. Right now, their global ranking is 46th. And when you consider some of the players they've got in their team, it's kind of mad they're that low. Tell you what, not happy about this. One of our younger academy members has been scouted and snatched by Manchester United. Scott Stone, RIP, never forget. Apparently he wasn't that good, so maybe I should be more upset. But either way, I just don't like having my best young players stolen by Manchester United. Scott Stone, we hardly knew ye. Okay, another one of our young players has now officially joined us. Tolarski, 18 years old, German player. This guy is absolutely phenomenal, isn't he? He is so good as a defensive midfielder option. I think we're going to train him as a roaming playmaker. Would like his tackling perhaps to be a little bit better, mind you. I guess we could just train him to be defensive midfielder on support and then have an additional focus on first touch. I would like his kind of ball control and dribbling just to be a bit better. So I think this makes the most of things. His physical's already in a good spot. Might change the role we're training him in if he doesn't develop much defensively, but plenty of time for him to develop. He literally turned 18 today. That's how good he is. And elsewhere, speaking of German football clubs, João Victor is leaving to join Borussia Mönchengladbach. £28.5 million for him is phenomenal. You know, we thought we were going to get 16 million, didn't we, at one point? 32.5 million. We signed him for 300k. He's been here through thick and thin. A legend of Rugby Town. I feel like I need to clap him or something, but yeah, he's leaving the club now. Thank you for the money. In the third game of the Euros group stage, England took on Scotland at Anfield. Imagine that. I don't think Anfield is actually allowed to host international matches in real life. I think it's to do with the lack of space behind the goals for photographers. That sounds like something I've just made up. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Either way, Michael Bolton, man of the match at right back. You absolutely love to see. Celik scored, Bolton scored, and Mikkel Korhonen-Takala also scored. He's Finnish. I've actually said it the correct Finnish way there, which is mad. Apparently he's got 18 caps and 2 goals for Finland, and then he's gone on to play for England. How do you get 18 caps and then get to switch nations? Is that all friendlies he played in? Either way, Korhonen-Takala here, very good player. I like him a lot. There's definitely some Finns watching this video thinking, how come he actually knew how to say that name almost correctly? And also probably a bit annoyed that a good Finnish player has ended up playing for England. I mean, I'd be annoyed too, to be fair. I keep getting offers for Kevin Hughes here, one of our youth players. I don't intend on selling him. I don't know why people are bidding on him. Reject all offers. Premier League signing of the season went to Diop. Things you'll love to see. 7.43 rating, to be fair, in the Premier League is absolutely mad. Elsewhere, Dennis finished runner-up. Sadly, he didn't come second. Tomic here came second. Bosnian player signed for 9 million. Got 11 goals for Aston Villa. I'm thoroughly underwhelmed by this guy. Then again, he has got 20 agility. He grinds in RuneScape, doesn't he? 20 agility. About 2% of you has got that reference. I mean, hopefully he's got his graceful set. Okay, the nerdy references are going too far. Let's move on. Okay, we are at the season tick-over date. The game is going to take a little longer than usual to load, but we are now into a new season where, just as a reminder, I've promised Diego he's going to feature in our first team this year, haven't I? He's currently on loan at Ipswich. I said if he scored 15 goals, he could play for us. He got 19, and now he's representing Italy, in the Euros, which is kind of cool to see. Sadly, didn't score in the most recent game. We will have the Community Shield this year against Man City. We bottled the Community Shield last year. For some reason, last time out, I kind of said last episode, oh, we won it. No, we lost on penalties to Arsenal. It's one of those things where I chose to forget it to, avoid trauma. In my head, we won. Either way, I don't think I'm going to do the Community Shield this year. I mean, it's just a glorified pre-season friendly. I don't feel like it's top priority. Also, you know how, before big games, people do, the combined 11s? Did you see that's like a social media trend, isn't it? Where you pick a combined 11 of two teams. The Media Dream 11 for two-team competitions is basically that in Football Manager. You can see here, you've got 4 Man City players and 7 of our players. So by that logic, we are going to win. Also, a load of our fixtures this year are going to be rearranged because Coventry play at home and we're now sharing a ground with them. That's going to be really annoying, isn't it? We're going to have loads of games that we just randomly play midweek and on Sundays just because of Coventry. I'm fuming. And if you were wondering, Jack, what's the media prediction for the upcoming year? Because that has now been updated. We are predicted to finish second, which, of course, last year we were predicted to finish... I want to say we were predicted to finish 4th. So we have climbed up there. You can see here, the Media Dream 11 does have a fair few of our players. Favourites for the title, though, Man City were in second, rugby. Liverpool and Arsenal in third and fourth. Yeah, I mean, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed that we're not favourites. I'm a little bit surprised as well that Donald's in the Media Dream 11. Donald here is very, very good. The fact he's 22 years old, we've signed him for 90 million, and our staff still think he does have more potential and he is still improving, makes me think he could be one of the best players in world football. I mean, he's already really, really good. It's a little bit deceptive because he's got so many 15s that if they were yellow, he'd look like an infinitely better player. So if he improves just a little bit in a couple of areas, he is going to be phenomenal. Of course, with Donald, the only issue is his injury proneness. Let's hope he stays fit. Fixtures have been announced for the new season. First game of the year, West Brom away. Then we've got Manchester City and Manchester United in our first 5 games. Could have been easier, I suppose. Now, with the sales that we've already made, we have £172 million in the bank. And like I already mentioned, I feel like a centre-back is just the area to address. I want to find a centre-back, maybe someone who's not as old as 28, like Bailey James Waldrum here, and perhaps doesn't have injury proneness would be a good idea too. Someone who is going to be a longer-term player, I think, is the absolute priority. You might remember we did look at Dylan Fraser, didn't we, at one point before? I like the look of this guy, but Arsenal wanted way too much money last summer for him. And right now, they don't want to strengthen a competitive rival, such as Rugby Town. The fact that Arsenal view us as a competitive rival, that feels like a compliment, doesn't it? Volpe, the Italian guy I looked at before, has come up here. He's got 6 jumping reach. He is not a centre-back, is he? Dimitri Alexeev here is a good player, but the issue with him is he just has 10 jumping reach, which I absolutely detest in a centre-back. As a defensive midfielder, I have no doubt he'd be a very, very good player. I also suspect Man City aren't going to want to sell him to me. They want 256 to 279 million. They can go kick rocks. Like I mentioned, I do feel like the transfer business today can be just done in one video. We're now at the point, aren't we, in the save game where I think there's like 1 or 2 major signings to make every year. It's not like we need holistic changes. We are at the point now where we're just looking, well, to basically win a Champions League. That is the ultimate goal here, because we're looking for a player who's going to be an upgrade on Sneddon, which I actually think is going to be more challenging than I think. Lucio here is not a bad player. He's an upgrade, but he's not a massive step up, is he? I was just looking at centre-backs sorted by potential. This guy here, Liam McGill, I do actually quite like the look of. 21 years old, loads of caps for Northern Ireland. Was on loan in the Championship last year. I don't think he's necessarily a player who competes with Sneddon. I say that. He's a weird player because he's not like a well-rounded player. He's not someone you'd want to necessarily play as a ball-playing centre-back. But actually, in terms of the stuff that a centre-back needs to be good at, there is a lot to like about this guy. I really, really like this sea of yellows in the mentals. He's not a slow player by any means. He's more than competent in the air. He's good. I'm tempted and I don't know why. I feel like it's the 5-star potential that's got me tempted, but he is 21. You know, is he really going to develop that much more? Is he even better than Bailey Salmon? I mean, could Bailey Salmon and McGill be the future? When you look at it like that, Bailey Salmon is just clear, isn't he? There were a couple of other 5-star potential players that popped up here. Mitch Considine, answers on a postcard. We'll just call him Mitch. M-Dog, MC. He likes McDonald's. This guy, 16 years old, 10 caps already for Scotland's under-21s. Freshly out of the new-gen womb. And I can tell you that because he's not got a face in my face pack for regens. I like the look of this guy a lot. At 16. He's got really good mentals, really good physicals. I came into things here wanting to find a new starter. I think I'm about to sign him for like £12 million. I feel like that's what it's going to cost me here. They wanted 14 and a bit. I'll give them 11 and a half. They don't want 11 and a half. They're going to take like 12.25 or just 12. We will take that. I feel like he's a good signing. Also, because he's from the UK, he doesn't count towards our foreign signings. There was also this guy, Liam Crewdson, who's an interesting centre-back option. Apparently, he's got bags and bags of potential. Teams want him. Who wants him? Okay, I was wondering if any of the big clubs wanted him. That's not the case. He is a good centre-back. Would 25 to 31 million for this guy be silly? If he's as good as my scouts think he is, he could be an exceptional player for kind of the long-term future of this club. I hate this. I hate it because I feel like this is one of those things where I'm potentially overpaying because he's English. But also, we have got more money than sense at this point, haven't we? Like, we can just afford to take some gambles. I feel like we are in that kind of spot. I'm going to take a gamble on this guy. Crewdson, I like the look of a lot. Realise I came into things, didn't I, looking for a new starting centre-back. Just instinctively clicked on the potential column to look at players with potential. Are there any players here worth signing? I remember looking at Ali Giassi last year. The Ghanaian is a very, very good player, but I feel like he's not that much better than Bailey Salmon. In fact, yeah, well, you compare him with Bailey Salmon. Salmon is just clear. Maybe not in the physicals or the mentals, but I mean, considering Salmon is only 19, the more I look at things, the more I realise, do I actually need to sign a new centre-back? Should I just be starting Salmon over Sneddon and just hoarding youngsters? Would it be an unpopular opinion if I just don't sign a new centre-back, promote Bailey Salmon to centre-back over Sneddon, and then with the rest of our money that we've got, we just go and hoard a load of young players? How does that sound for a plan? Okay, the good news is both of the young players that we've looked to sign here do want to join us, which is, well, promising to say the very least. Mitch only wants £10,000. We can afford that. Mitch, come on down. And Crewdson here, I'm a little bit concerned that £31 million is a massive overpay. I mean, in terms of his current ability, absolutely is. But if he's got as much potential as my staff think he has, I feel like it's just worth a gamble. He's either-footed, super consistent, 18 years old. Some people are going to hate this deal because they're only going to look at his current ability, but I want to set up Rugby Town for long-term success beyond the end of this save game, and I feel like Crewdson could be the kind of player who is just that. He is a long-term option for this club. Long after I'm gone, he'll be here captaining the club or something, I hope. I mean, I'm spending £31 million on him. I really need him to be good. I'm now just eyeing up 19-year-old players and younger who are UK and Irish, seeing what's out there that might be affordable. There's a 16-year-old on this list. That immediately stands out to me. Lawrence Gout. He plays for Scotland's under-21s. He's 16. We've already got one under-21 Scottish player joining us, haven't we? Liam, do you want to join us? Or Lawrence, I've got his name wrong there, and I've instantly had a bid accepted. You know what? £11 million for him? Is that a bad bit of business? I feel like he looks like an immense goalkeeper. He does look good, doesn't he? I know he's injury prone, but look how good he is. I was wondering if there were any other 16-year-olds playing for the Scotland under-21s, given the fact that we've already got Mitch joining us and now Lawrence. Mark Cadden here plays for Motherwell. He's not as good as the other two options, but for £5 million? Could I do it? Should I do it? We'll wait for a scout report. I'm now looking at the Welsh under-21s, although I'll be honest, Wales is not cooking like Scotland is. These young players here, not as exciting. Okay, Gout also wants to join us as a goalkeeping option. Like the look of this guy a lot. I don't want to have yearly wage rises on these young players because hopefully they're going to be here for a long, long time. In this case with Lawrence, I want to sign him onto an optional 3-year extension as well as the initial 3-year deal. He has negotiated a little bit more than I was hoping he was going to there. But this guy, I think, will be very good for our youth team. I'll tell you what, our under-21s is going to be stacked, isn't it? I mean, in terms of the best youngsters 17 and under from the UK and Ireland, there's the 2 Scottish lads who are already signing, and then John Dix, who I know is a fan favourite. I know loads of you want me to sign John Dix. I'm not spending £63 million on this guy. He might be good. I don't think he's that good. But imagine if he was. No, I can't do it. The name's funny, but it's because it's Dix. You know, I'm probably getting this video demonetized by just saying John Dix over and over again. I don't need him. I don't need him. There are a few more English players here who do look very good. Edward Anderson here looks like a pretty impressive player at 18 years old, although he is about to turn 19, so his current ability is a bit of a question mark. Rwanda here, not a bad player either, 18 years old. He's not bad, he's not amazing. Tegan Breaker, 18 years old, is going to turn 19 soon. He is actually a pretty decent fullback option, but I don't feel like he's worth the kind of money they're asking for. There was Nicky McGivern here, who I have looked at as well in previous occasions. This guy's very, very good playing for Liverpool Football Club, but he's also a winger, and we don't play with wingers. In fact, of all the young players here that have popped up, the one who I'm most tempted by is Baraktar here, who you might remember we looked at last year. For some reason, his last name reminds me of Reptar from Rugrats, even though it's nothing like the name Reptar. I mean, it has the tar at the end, I suppose. Can we just call him Reptar? Probably not. This guy is very, very good at 19 years old. He might end up being absolutely phenomenal. My staff think he's got a mad potential. I look at his kind of core technicals, his physicals, and think he reminds me of a young Roger Rojas, but 60 to 70 million for him, and actually it's gone up. That would be kind of mad. But I do like the look of him a lot. My scouts have scouted this guy a lot, and they still maintain he's got 5-star potential, which makes you think he must actually have really good potential. I hadn't spotted it as well. He's got perfectionist personality. He's got perfect... If I could sell Mateus and bring him in to be the Mateus replacement, that would be the best deal ever. Leicester last year finished 10th in the Premier League. Leicester, do you want to do a swap where I get Fedea, I just give you Mateus? Like, that would be a good, fair deal for everyone. I played a little bit of EAFC career mode recently. In that game, you just do swaps all the time. That's what I want to do here. Mateus and... Do you want to just swap? They don't. I'll swap and 10 million. I'll make an offer, see what they say. Huari would like a new contract. How much does Huari want for a new contract? Can I ask his agent what he might want? He might want 180 to 225,000 pounds a week. That's a lot of money considering what he's currently on, isn't it? We can't afford it right now. I'll just lie. He might think that we're in debt because usually we can't afford new contracts. Right now, for the first time in ages, we actually can. Little update, by the way, the Euros, the group stage has just concluded. Scotland didn't make it through to the knockouts as one of the best placed third place teams. Wales, on the other hand, did. Was there any other shock knockouts here? I feel like Scotland should be doing way better with their current crop of players, but they just haven't. France only getting 4 points in their group might be a little bit of a surprise. Besides that, there's nothing too shocking here. I actually think Scotland are just really disappointing. In this universe, you'd think they'd be good, but they're just bad. It's sad. My bid that involved a Mateus player exchange hasn't been accepted. 12. I'm beginning to think they just don't want Mateus. I think they just don't want Mateus. Okay, Michi Constantine is joining us. £12 million for him. I like the fact I'm just spending £12 million and not thinking about it on a 16-year-old. This guy does look very, very good. I know he's got a bit of an injury proneness issue, but to be honest, even with minimal development, in 5 years' time, I feel like you could comfortably sell him on and cover the outlay. He looks like he is going to be a really good Premier League centre-back down the line. And elsewhere, Lawrence Gout is going to join us for another £11 million. We are hoovering up the next generation of Scottish players. If we just compare this guy with Afoni, I'll be honest, he's not as good as Afoni right now, but in terms of his kind of layout of attributes and his polygon, he ticks so many boxes. I mentioned Scotland underperforming, didn't I, all gleefully? England have just been knocked out by Israel on penalties. Celik missed a penalty, Bolton got sent off. Look at the match stats. Not a great day to be an England fan. Not a great day, to be fair, for many Rugby Town players on the pitch. They've had an absolute Western supermare. The Israeli goalkeeper got a 9.5 rating. Madness. It's the 1st of July. You know what that means. The man is here. Alexis Dudon. The Don, as I think we'll call him. This guy, 27 years old. What a free transfer to pick up. I feel like a few years ago in Football Manager, Bosmans, there were just loads of them. You know, maybe, I say a few years ago, like 10 years ago in Football Manager, the AI was rubbish at renewing contracts. So you could find some crazy players on frees. We are signing here one of the best players in the save game for free. It's kind of crazy that he was at Rennes, his boyhood club, for as long as he was, but they just didn't want to sell him. He'd signed a long-term deal for them on, I think, £20,000 a week. And, well, as a result of that, he's run it down. We've signed him for £190,000 a week. But, well, the fans are excited to see a global superstar. I'm excited to see a global superstar too. Also, should probably mention, Haddad has now officially left the club. Sad day, really, but ultimately we've made £10 million of profit. Last year, he just wasn't near the first team. And also, pour one out for him, João Victor, leaving the club too. Yeah, he will be missed around the dressing room and stuff, but still, 28 million was just too much, wasn't it? Apparently with Addons joining us, shirt sales are going to go up. I hope they're going to go up a little bit more than, well, where they're currently at. We've sold 40,000 so far this year. Last year we sold 170,000. I'll forget those numbers, so someone remind me next year to check how much we make. Yeah, hopefully we sell more. Also, Diego achieved his player target, didn't he? I've not really used player targets much this year. I feel like half the time you set them, you just end up offending the players. I told Diego if he got 15 goals in the championship, he'd play in the first team. Yeah, I guess we'll promote him to the senior team. I don't know how he fits into the team. How do I get him on the bench in this squad? Like, Diego is a very, very good player, but, I mean, is he better than Cesar Vasquez? I have my doubts. I mean, I have my doubts, and then the proof is in the pudding here. Really, I should probably just look to loan him out again so he doesn't get upset about the fact I don't keep the promise of playing him in the first team. I did say, didn't I, that I thought Camavinga would sign a new contract in Saudi Arabia. He hasn't. He's now a free transfer. Does he want to join us? He wants to be a regular starter. I can make him a squad player. He's okay with that. He wants £1.1 million. Mate, I'm not Saudi Arabian. I'm not. He wants over 3 times what I can offer him. We'll walk away. Hopefully he drops his demands in due course. I am really just coming around to the idea that Bailey Salmon is just the starting centre-back this year, and he is basically the new transfer. Has declined a little bit while on international duty with Scotland. I'm going to blame the Scottish national team for that. What it does mean, though, is that with all this remaining money, we might just want to go out and sign more young players. Of course, we've already got Unai Martinez joining us in, well, just a few days' time. We've got Dede, who also is joining us on his 18th birthday. His birthday's next month. We've got so many great players joining us. I do need to decide if I want to sign Crudson here for 31 million. I mean, he's definitely not 31 million pounds worth of player right now, and if I was in any other circumstances, I'd say it's not worth the gamble. But with the situation we find ourselves in, I kind of fancy a gamble. Okay, I have the option to sign Crudson here. This is really going to upset some people, but we have more money than sense. Not that I had much sense to begin with. I'm going to sign him. If I was going to look at this really objectively and not in this situation, the biggest issue with him is the fact he's only got 10 tackling. Of course, with stuff like marking, heading, you can put focuses into those areas of defensive technicals. Tackling, there isn't any way to kind of individually focus on that. Despite it, though, I am going to sign him just because I think he's very, very good. And of all the young English players we've got scouted, he is comfortably one of the best. Might be a weird analogy. He reminds me of a young NDIA. Is that an odd analogy? You know, he's either-footed. He's not really a centre-back, but he also plays centre-back. He could be the successor to NDIA. That's my vision for him. Manchester United make offer for Baturina. I feel like whenever I see offers made for players, I have to check on them. You know, I don't want my rivals getting a good deal that I could have made too. Is anyone else like this? You know, you kind of just look at any transfers going on just in case you've missed something. Now, with all the signings we've made, we are now over the wage budget, but the good news is I can just shuffle some money, and now we've got £473,000 free on the wages, and still got a transfer budget of over 100 million too. I hate that I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to get Baraktar. Is that mad? I look at the potential, I look at his current ability, I look at how good he is now. He is a very, very good player at 19. Obviously, they don't want Mateus. We've already established that. I'll offer them £65 million and just see what they say. They've asked for 92. Please let me know in the comments, do you approve of what I'm doing right now? Given the fact that I just can't find a centre-back and I'm that happy with the rest of the team. I mean, we've just gone unbeaten. I feel like these signings, they're not necessarily going to help us with a Champions League push, but with the players we've got, we shouldn't need any help. And of course, at the end of the save game, in the coming years, I'm still not sure when the series is going to end, truthfully, but when we do go to the end and sim forward, I want to leave the club in the best possible situation to just have ongoing dominance forever. And hoarding just some of the best young players in world football like this guy Probably a wise thing to do. He's happy to be a breakthrough prospect. That's a relief. We, a few years ago, had an issue, you might remember, where players wanted to be like really high squad status kind of roles, and I couldn't like offer them those roles realistically. Or if I did, I risked making them unhappy. On this occasion here with Derya, I really want him to sign an optional 3-year contract so we can lock him down on a long-term deal. And to do that, I am going to quite happily throw a lot of money to him and his agent. Hopefully, he signs this. I really want him to sign a 5-year deal. Can I give him £2 million? He really wants a 3-year deal. Oh, I'm going to gamble. I don't know if I want to make this transfer necessarily. I mean, I definitely do. I'm going to throw this at him. If he rejects this, no regrets. I wouldn't have wanted to sign him anyway. I wanted to sign him all along. Some good news as well. Diego has attracted plenty of loan offers. Southampton want him to be an important player for them in the Premier League. That could be a really good one. Elsewhere, a couple of teams like Crystal Palace, who were relegated last year, want him. I'll tell you what, a loan move for him to be a regular starter at Crystal Palace could be really, really good. I think the Southampton move could be good for him as well. Southampton, were they promoted? No, they weren't promoted. They've been in the Premier League the last couple of years, battling towards the bottom. Looking at the other offers here, I kind of want to keep him in England just so he gets homegrown in nation. Not sure about a squad status for West Brom. Regular start for Bristol City is another one I might just offer him out for. You might have noticed as well, I've not asked for any wage contribution. Money's not an issue right now. I want to get him the best loan offer for his playing time possible. I feel like we've got 3 pretty enticing options. I'll let him have the pick. I'll tell you what, it's a very strong start, isn't it, for the Alexi era? He's got injured in pre-season. He's out for up to 3 weeks. Everything's fine. Dekanovic as well is out for 6 to 7 weeks. I forgot Dekanovic is here. He doesn't even have a work permit and he doesn't have a contract. I'm just going to release him. I'm sorry that he's got injured for 2 months, but he's asking to leave anyway. Well, we'll give him what he wants. Dekanovic will go down as one of the Rugby Town players of all time. He's had a great career at the club. I mean, we signed him for 200,000. I don't feel that bad releasing him. I've had an offer for Mateus, everyone, at 27 million from Arsenal. Mateus, just as a reminder, worth 50 to 70 million. Arsenal have offered me 27. When I saw the offer come in, I'm thinking, oh, that could really add to the rivalry if they have one of our former players. You know, it could be like Gabriel Jesus going to Arsenal from Man City. Not going to sell him for that price. I think at this point we've already established there's not that many crazy good centre-back options. If you were wondering, Jack, what about other players around the world? Who else is there who could be like the best players in the world to sign? Obviously, Victor would be an obvious player to sign. This guy's phenomenal at 28 years old. He's also valued at £228 million, which, I mean, he's good. I don't think any player's worth that much in FM. And that's coming from the person who signed a player for £300 million in Mike Frost back at Towlaw Town 5 years ago. I've moved on from things since then. I'm a changed man. Estrada would be a really interesting option if he's available. I'm kind of tempted to declare interest here. Not that I will sign him, but just because I want to make him unhappy. Liverpool, of course. Liverpool, just as a reminder, finished 8th place last year. Before that, they finished 6th. They're on like a downward trajectory here. The 24-year-old is their captain. He's also on £300,000 a week. But, I mean, you know what? Worst case, we declare him as a target and we don't sign him, and he gets unhappy and makes Liverpool cry. Best case scenario, we end up signing him somehow. Now, on the one hand, I could try and scrape together £250 million to sign a player, or we could have some fun and sign Barektar here, or I'm calling him Reptar. I'm nicknaming him Reptar. You can't stop me. If you've never seen the TV series Rugrats, you won't know the name Reptar. I feel like that's a younger person thing. Most people know Rugrats, surely. If you don't know who Rugrats are, say, I don't know who Rugrats are in the comments. If you do, just let me know your favourite character from Rugrats, I suppose. Either way, Reptar here, I'm going to sign. I really like the look of this guy. I and I ahed about signing him last year, and whilst 82 million is an absurd amount, and I'll hold my hands up and say that, if he develops like he potentially could, he's going to be worth over £100 million and be England's main striker. He kind of reminds me of Norman, who we had at Towlaw Town. Can you remember Norman? He ended up being very good when we simmed into the future. Reptar here reminds me of Norman. When you look at the under-21s of our football club, the future does look very, very bright, doesn't it? I appreciate that a couple of the 16-year-olds that we've signed, like Mitch here, that you could go, oh my god, their potential's dropped to 4-star, which obviously not ideal. You want their potential to maintain itself. But just as a little reminder, a 4-star potential player in our team is still someone as good as NDIA, which for the £10 million we paid, absolutely worth it. And I suppose what's making me feel particularly confident here is the fact that Reptar and Crudson, who only just joined the club, the two more expensive players, both still rated 5-star by our staff having joined the team. I feel like that bodes really, really well for just how good they could be. Has just dawned on me that in our youth team here, there's a load of players who are nowhere near the first team, who are just here on money. I probably should just try and move on some of these players who just aren't that good and are also over the age of 21. In terms of under 19s, well, under 21s, I think we've got things covered. In terms of the under 18s, things are still looking pretty good here too. I was just looking back through here, different players that my scouts are recommending that have very good potential. There's a few players here who I've had my eye on for a while. There's one man who I wanted to sign, I think, last year, and he just wouldn't join me, which was Joseph Kabongo, 17 years old, valued at £4.5 million. How many youth players can we sign? We're restricted to signing 6. Apparently, we've only currently signed 2. This guy's available for 4.5 million. I feel like 4.5 million, that is a no-brainer, isn't it? Like, he is phenomenal with 20 determination as well. Is there any other players in this list that are particularly good with kind of high potential and release clauses? Rafael Rice here is not a bad player. Little bit injury prone. I don't love his current ability for someone who's 19 and is about to turn 20. Alen Selinovic here, 17 years old, Bosnian international. He looks very, very good as well, doesn't he? He does look very... Thing is, I've got a lot of defensive midfielders, and 22 million for him is a lot. If he was English, I'd probably pay it. Looking through more of the players that we've got scouted that have high potential, a couple of these we've already looked at this episode. One of them was Tournier here, wasn't it? He plays for Servette, 18 years old. I actually quite like the look of this guy, maybe as a centre-back. Is that mad? I mean, he's got 15 jumping reaches. Headham lets him down, although I feel like when you sim into the future of Football Manager save games, there's not actually many good defenders with good heading. I don't know if that's just a me issue, but I feel like that is a common thing. I think £9.5 million for him would be sensible. I was just looking through all my different scouting assignments. I have them set up for different continents. We have like under 21s Africa, under 21s South America, and under 21s Asia. A lot of these kind of fringe regions don't kind of throw up results. However, here we got one near miss in South America, and Alarcon here is very, very good. Look at the mentals that this guy's got at 17 years old. He wouldn't be able to join us until January, and I probably don't need more centre-backs. I kind of want to sign him. Have I got a centre-back addiction? I think I might do. 5.8 to 8.8 million pounds for this guy. My scouts like him. I like him too. They want kind of 8 million-ish for him. Hopefully we can negotiate this down. I think we're going to end up at like 7 to 7.5 million for him. 7 million pounds? You know what? For Hannibal, I like that. I really want to call him Hannibal. Is that bad? I think Hannibal Lecter. I think the regen face he's been assigned is probably adding to that kind of thing. It's a very scary face. Okay, contract for Kabongo successfully negotiated. Tournier here. Hopefully he is going to have nice, simple... I was going to say requests. He wants to be a squad player. He is not good enough to be a squad player. I'll tell him he's an impact sub. That's probably a little bit of a lie. Did have to negotiate his contract a little bit, but a 5-year deal I think is fine. £66,000 isn't cheap, but we can afford it. And Hannibal here, thankfully, just wants to be a future prospect into breakthrough prospect. I like the look of this guy again a lot. We can only sign him on a 2.5-year deal. I'm quite keen to get him on a long deal, or at least one that has the option of an extension. Maybe overpaid a little bit on the wages here, but that deal is negotiated as well. This guy, by the way, 17 years old, he is already playing for Vélez really regularly. I know he's struggling in the Argentine Premier Division, but the fact he's playing matches means he should develop quite nicely. So I am going to need to do a lot of housekeeping of the under-21s in terms of just selling some of the older players that I just showed earlier. I also need to get out on loan a load of players like Dimitrov, players who are desperately in need of regular first-team football. Obviously, it's a bit of a balance in that because I want them to go somewhere where they're going to get regular football, but also wages getting paid for are nice. The good news here, I suppose, is both Lille and Sociedad have made very similar offers. Unlike Manchester United, they're actually offering a pretty reasonable amount. Manchester United only want him as a squad player, so I'm going to reject their offer. But yeah, I think regular football for him is going to be good. And elsewhere, Gilliland, another player who needs regular minutes somewhere. Nottingham Forest want to make him a regular starter in the Premier League. All these other offers are, well, they're not regular starters or they're abroad. Apparently they want him as a squad player, Crystal Palace. I feel like he'd be a good regular starter for them in the Championship. Am I mad? Will they sign him as an important player? They will. Why do I feel like they're just agreeing to that in spite of the fact that they probably won't use him as that kind of player? Who knows? Either way, I'm going to reject the other offers. I do want to check with Crystal Palace, of course. They've just been relegated for the first time in this save game. Wait, this is their senior team. What's happened to Crystal Palace? Sorry, what's happened? Lads, are you okay? How many players have they got in their first team? They've got 16 and one of them is a greyed out goalkeeper. Looking at things here, they have sold, a couple of players. Gay and Ajao left them. Did they release a load of players too? Yeah, they have also released a load of players. What is going on at Crystal Palace? I mean, yeah, I think Gilliland will get regular minutes for them. Yeah, I mean, loads of these players want out too. What's happening? They've got £13 million in debt as well. Have they got any money? I don't often use the finances tab here. I just want to check things. They've got a transfer budget of £6 million, wage budget of 1.3. That's I can't believe that. Their media prediction is apparently is second. They are going to struggle this coming year. I've seen enough. I think he'll get better minutes at Crystal Palace than he will Nottingham Forest. Okay, the first of the 3 new young players we're looking at is going to be confirmed. Hannibal joining the club in January, mind you. But the 17-year-old has some absolutely insane mentals. Like the look of this guy a lot. Do you remember Shen Fu Sai? Yeah, he's just left our youth team after not being contracted for years. He's joined Rangers. Very happy for the Taiwan international. Hopefully he gets regular minutes. I can't imagine he's going to. Okay, Diego is going on loan to Southampton. He turned down Crystal Palace and Bristol City. I think that's going to be a good loan move for him. I did update his squad playing time and kind of status to impact sub just to keep him happy. Of course, we promised if he did well last year that we'd make him a bench player. I've just loaned him out. I've just lied to him there. Either way, I think it's going to be a good move for him. And another thing that's going to be a good move are these transfers here. Turnier is joining us and Kabongo is joining us too. Kabongo won't be able to join us till he turns 18. So like Hannibal, he will be joining us in January. But nevertheless, we've secured some really good young players today. And actually, speaking of really good young players, Inusa Montari, this guy came through our youth academy a few years ago. He actually went on loan to Plymouth in the Championship and did quite well. I've had some interest in him. Is he actually any good? Like, teams are actually offering quite a lot of money. I mean, he's come through our academy and I've never mentioned him before because I didn't think he'd be that good. I mean, has he just improved a lot while he's been here? Yeah, okay, he's improved a lot over the course of his career so far. I feel like I should probably just try and sell him for like 6 million with a sell-on clause or something. I'll ask for 7.5 and 50% of profit and see if anyone bids. Okay, I've got £9 million remaining on the transfer budget. I've burnt through that very quickly. You can see here I've got a load of young players that I'm loaning out to affiliates and just various other clubs. I feel like we need to find out what's happening to Gilliland and Dimitrov. Then we can probably call things for today. It's been a bit of a different transfer special, but just lots of wheeling and dealing. I think between now and the start of the season and next episode, I need to get rid of a lot of players. Marco Rose has just signed for Arsenal as their new manager. Zidane was the favourite. He stayed at Man City. Liverpool have also updated their manager. If you're wondering, who have they gone with? They've gone with Terzic, which is an interesting appointment. Okay, Dimitrov is heading on loan for a Lille loan to Lille. I feel like Lille have just been a constant kind of feature of this series. They just pop up at random points. They're taking Dimitrov for the year. We'll keep an eye on his development. And now I'm also hoping we'll see a loan move confirmed for Gilliland. I'm hoping that he is going to agree to go to Crystal Palace. Lord knows they really, really need him. They really do need him. Also, you might have just spotted a second ago, Spain have won the Euros. Yeah, that's right. Afoni in goal, leading Spain to glory. Definitely was all him. Runner-up, Ukraine, of all teams. Finished 1-0 to Spain. If we just have a little look at the final here. Wasn't exactly a classic. Afoni got man of the match in goal. Things you love to see. Doesn't look like Diop played in the final for whatever reason, but Guerrero did play, former legend. I know some people wanted to see me bring back Guerrero. He's good. He's not that good. Also, I don't want to spend £200 million on him. I realise I say that having today spent like £200 million on just loads of youth players and just hoarding them all, but look, don't criticise it, just allow it. I've spent £82 million on a man who I've now nicknamed Reptar. Someone argue I'm not taking this summer seriously enough. If Fonny and Donald made the dream team of the Media 11 for the European Championship, Chelip and Diop on the bench as well. Love the fact that Donald features in there. Fair play. And more good news continues to flow. David's heading to Crystal Palace. David, you have got to get Crystal Palace up. You are, please. Obviously, Crystal Palace, we've managed in a past part to Prem. We owe it to them. I asked for 7.5 million, didn't I, for Montari? Bristol City have offered not that. I'll ask for 7. They've offered not a great deal, really, from Bristol City. I want 5 million now and 2.5 in 6 months. I feel like I might get 6 million if I'm lucky here. £6 million it is. Look, Montari is not a bad player, but he's not that good, is he? He's never going to play in our first team. Anyway, folks, I think we're going to leave things there for today. I appreciate today's been a bit of a different episode in terms of transfer specials. Unlike past years, I just don't feel like we're at a point now where I need 2 episodes to sort out the team. The one area of the team where I thought, maybe we can improve it is centre-back. But there isn't options out there, so rather than sign a centre-back for maybe the sake of it, signing a player who's not optimal, I'd rather just hoard in a load of youngsters, see how they develop, kind of plan for the long-term future at the club. I suppose the big question mark is going to be, how do players like Donald fit into the team, and also the Don? Obviously, he is going to have all eyes on him. He is basically the big transfer of the summer, albeit we've been waiting for like the last year for him to join. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's transfer special. We will be back to start the new season tomorrow. We are not going to do the Community Shield. We're instead going to come back for the opening 2 Premier League games, which are, drumroll please, West Brom away, not sexy, Man City at home, a little bit scary. They are the 2 games we have coming up. Man City, of course, one of the favourites for the league. In fact, their media prediction was first, so they probably are the favourites for the league. Although, saying all of that, if you go to the media prediction here, we have jumped up. I feel like the Don joining us since the prediction was originally made maybe knocks us up. You can see he's actually listed as a top key player. Let me know down in the comments if you got to the end of the video, so I know that you got this far. How many goals do you think he's going to get this coming year? Be interested to know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching as always. Hopefully the Leafs have won in the playoffs and all of my Leafs Nation fam out there having a lovely, lovely Thursday. Besides all of that, we are back tomorrow to end the week with more action. Until next time, take things easy. It's me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.